listening to the Contraritics Podcast, pushing back against the insanity of this world with arguments that may or may not work. And here's your hosts, Josh the Gun Nerd and Ian the Beer Nut.
All right, we're here with a guest, which we've had one other guest this year. So we have the one and only Jubal Marlatt. He's a frequent podcaster. Not at all.
We had to describe what we are, what we're even doing.
Yeah,
you know,
that's right. We're gonna point cameras at you and microphones and talk about things.
Right.
So Jubal Marlatt is a husband of one, father of three, grandfather of four. Sorry, what? Grandfather of how new now are you a grandfather?
About a year and a half.
A year and a half, and then more recent one.
2 months.
2 months. Yeah. Okay, I was gonna say 3, but that's good. And then you served in the Navy for many years.
24.
24 years. How long have you been retired now?
Since 17. So
man,
yeah, do the math.
It does seem like a year or two ago, and then it does seem
that
a
was
little
2017.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Your wife
Yeah.
did the.
Yeah, never. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're managing. You figured it out.
It's God's providing.
Yeah, that's good. And you are an interesting individual, but we found it even more interesting that we had to, talk to you about your most recent enterprise. What is it you're trying to do? You're opening up a clinic, and it's just gonna be like every other clinic out there, right?
No. Is that my launch?
That's your launch. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, give us the beats. I mean,
like, what do you want to do?
Yeah. What's the aim?
Like the aim, is probably the main mission is to get true care, medical care to my community. In my community, I'm saying northern Lake Stevens, Marysville area. And what a lot of people have, a lot of people don't have any medical care, and so they run down to the local emergency room and they get, I don't know if you guys have been there.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I've had experience.
Yeah. So it's 5 hours of waiting around a bunch of sick people so you can get something addressed that it's got to the point where you think you need care right away. Usually those things could have been addressed 3 days prior, 4 days prior. So my goal is to get that care into people's hands. A lot of the other category of people have is they have coverage, and people say, "Oh, I've got great coverage," and great coverage does not mean good care.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of these quotes or sayings in the field that I'm venturing into. So you might have great insurance. Oh, I got the best insurance, but you can't get to your doctor for maybe a month or two.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many appointments. So what we're breaking out into is it's called DPC, which stands for Direct Primary Care.
Okay.
In short, if you've ever had a gym membership, that's exactly the same thing. You pay your fee up front at the beginning of the month, and then you have access to your doc. What about? And a lot of people say, "Well, how does my insurance work with that?" It doesn't. There's no insurance. So that's the beauty of the product.
Yeah. So what gives you the what got you interested in doing this? How did you get here? What experience are you bringing to this? Were you a house painter, and then you wanted to get into this field?
Oh yeah, that's pretty good. Number one, I'm retired Navy, but I'm a retired Navy nurse. I'm a nurse by trade. My background.
Are men allowed to be nurses?
Yeah.
Okay.
We
just had to clear the air on that.
Yeah, I do appreciate that.
I am a male nurse. I see men and women and whatever.
Are you able to define a man and a woman?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure that's clear.
Yes. I don't want to say it on this.
Yeah, you do.
With a background in medicine, and again, I'm not a doctor, and nor do I claim to be. In fact, I want to make that very clear. I'm just a nurse, and other nurses get frustrated when I say just a nurse, but that's the reality. But I am also a businessman. I like business. I like to be an entrepreneur. I've ran clinics before, and I've been the nurse manager that has told the doctor who's already seeing 16 to 20 patients that day, I'm going to squeeze one more in.
Yeah.
Hey, you need to hurry up because you got other people waiting on you. Also, don't forget you've got some ridiculous training you got to do online. And hurry up and finish these charts. And by the way, there's some metric that Medicare is wanting us to do, so make sure you ask everyone about their pap smear and blood pressure check. And the docs are just, I mean, I would be pushing
super excited
him to do
that.
I'd be pushing him to do this, and then at the same time understanding their frustration, like, I hate this.
Yeah.
The beauty of the direct primary care, the doc only has, at the most, on average, 500 to 600 patients. The average cost of each patient that he's seeing is paying about $60 to $70 a month. And if you have, I mean, just do the math real quick. If you have 500 patients, that's paying you $70 a month. Obviously, there's overhead, but it pays well. The beauty in that is your overhead is your rent, maybe your clerk or your receptionist who's also a phlebotomist up front, and that's it. You don't have to pay. And the reason why, and this, I'll tell you why we got into this issue, but the reason why, the beauty of that is such a low overhead, and you only have those 500 to 600 patients, that the money is there, and so you don't have to worry about it. The costs are low. So the costs are low for the patient, and the costs are low for you. So it's kind of a win-win. It's definitely a win-win. It's not a kind of win-win. Mm-hmm. And since in the industry, they call it, or whatever, these big, most docs have like 18 to 2,000 patients. They're
so 4 times as many.
Yeah. Their average visit is 12 to 20 minutes at the most. A 20-minute appointment is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Most docs, when was the last time you've been to the doctor? Yeah.
It's been a long time.
I mean,
Most time it's
picking my brain, literally.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah,
that's
last
right.
time you had a tumor. Things got to go south.
Yeah.
And most time the doc is trying to not rush and trying to look like he's listening or she's listening, but understanding that she's got like a million other things to do.
And they just got a like a clipboard shoved in their hand, and they're
exactly.
like, okay, who
and
are
so
you?
the common phrase is, hey, I'm sorry, but I can only take one issue right now. So if you've got back pain and a bum knee, and they need to try to fix your diabetes, and they're like, okay, let's do one, but make another appointment, and your other appointment is, months away.
Yeah.
So the beauty of the direct primary care is you have the doc spends half hour to an hour with you.
Oh.
The doctor knows your name, knows your family, probably knows what you do for a living.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a definite win-win. There's no rush, and they probably see about an average of, I mean, if they're full with a 500 panel patient or patient panel, they're probably seeing about 10 patients a day.
Wow.
And that's busy for a DPC doc.
Yeah.
That's not busy for the Kaiser's, Optums,
Yeah.
Providence Medical Group, those guys.
Been under a couple of those.
So why is no one else doing this?
There are, in Washington State, there's 82 now.
Right on. Those are all pretty new.
Yeah, but DPC has been around for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of the OGs of DPC. Can you say that?
Yeah, OG's
Is that-
DPC. Yeah.
OG of DPC. Yeah. Is Dr. Rod's story down in Moscow. He's
Okay.
interesting, similar. He was his main job got sour, or he left, or was fired, or was about to. Anyway, it got bad, and he's like, "I'm just going to my practice myself."
Mm-hmm.
My history.
I was just saying, like,
Yeah,
can we talk about?
yeah. I was in the corporate field and working with the local hospital in management, and they did not see eye to eye with some of our.
That's not because you were taller than them.
No, I was definitely taller than them, but too aggressive, too not woke. What's the word I want to use?
Able to define a man and a woman.
Yeah, they're just So, in short, they fired me, which was a shock at the same time. But that was the kick in the rear end that I needed to start going.
But yeah, because that was something you said a couple minutes ago, is that you're an entrepreneur. But don't you love people? Like, there will be people that will ask that question.
Hold on.
Hey, we'll take a moment. Or, we're sipping on some single malt Scotch from Glenfiddich. I think that's the pronunciation.
Yeah, is it Fiddick or Fiddich?
Yeah, Fiddich or Fiddick. However you
Don't
pronounce
come
it.
to the Contraritics for pronunciation.
Yeah, we will definitely beat that up.
How
But
many year?
this is single malt.
Does it not say a
Top
year?
grade. I'm not seeing a year. Reserve cask. I'm not seeing an age statement, but I don't have my glasses on.
When the doc says, "Well, I'm not seeing anything, but I don't have my glasses on."
Hey, Doc, could you put your glasses on?
It's like in Tommy Boy. It's like, not so much here, not so much here. Right in here.
Yeah, I'm not seeing an age statement on it, which is more and more common. But let me talk into the mic instead of past it.
It's nice and smooth.
Yeah, it is. It's married in their unique Solera vat for a deep and mellow whiskey, which it is.
Yeah, very drinkable, very
Enjoyable.
right.
Yeah.
Is it whiskey you could drink on a hot day?
Mm-hmm.
I've never contrasted whiskey and the heat of the day.
I mean, I like whiskey even in July and August,
Okay.
but sometimes you got to throw an ice cube in at that point.
Oh, okay.
But this is one that you could do a Dave Light and throw in just a whole bunch of pea gravel ice and drink it, or you could drink it without all the pea gravel ice.
Right.
So, back to where we were at. You do love people, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. So you're not just in it for the money, right, Jubal?
Dear Lord, I'm not. No. And you kind of think, I think everyone should start a business. I think it's just like everyone should go in the military and everyone should start a business.
Yeah.
It just gives some massive perspective on, you've got to put your gonads out on the table. And it's like, go ahead. Hey, somebody's might walk on them. But yeah, 1 year prior to me getting the boot, I mean, nursing and medicine is just, it's under the gun. It is broken. It is broken. It is broken.
What are some? I mean, you've touched on some of the administrative things. What are some of the things that you just see are big gaps, like the big gaps that that are relatable to, but maybe somebody that isn't getting their brain picked every 5 years or whatever?
Yeah. Well, in medicine, the big gaps.
Yeah.
Well, okay, just some blatant ones is Americans were super unhealthy. Mm-hmm. We're putting crap in our body we shouldn't be, which leads to a ton of inflammatory disorders. But the other issue is We want results now. We don't look. We won't look a week in the future. We just like, let me ignore this. And then when it does hit, like, I got to go now. I need a doctor now. And so there's only one place to get that. It's the emergency room, which everyone's learning that if you treat the ER like a clinic, you're just going to have hours and hours and hours of waiting. It was so bad now that our local hospital, the ambulance brings in someone, and by law, you're not allowed to you're just not allowed to drop them off. You have to give report to a nurse that takes the patient. And if the nurses are full of patients, they can't take another patient. The ambulance, the medics have to sit there on the wall. It's called
they're hung up.
Yeah, it's called wall time. So there's been multiple times when every ambulance in the county is sitting in the hospital ER.
Wow.
Because everyone is at the ER trying to. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but there are not with the ambulances all being tied up. That's actually been factual.
Wow. Yeah, so that's not just affecting the people in the hospital. That's affecting, everybody in the county.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
And everyone knows it. Everyone in the medical knows it. They just don't know what the fix is. And I think I'm telling you, the fix is direct primary care. It's the wave is starting to form, and I'm trying to get on it now. I am probably one of the few, if not the only, idiot crazy enough, because I'm a nurse, to start my own. That means most docs who start it, most everyone who starts at DPC, direct primary care, are doctors.
Yeah.
So they just go ahead and...
Yeah. It's like a dentist starting his own.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And that's fine. And they can just hang the shingle up and then boom, go.
Yeah.
Right.
I have started the clinic. I've rented the space. I've bought a commercial building. I've bought all the equipment.
Yeah.
And got everything up. Website, blah, blah, blah. Without a doctor. So
you basically decided to head down the rapids with a paddle, and now you're trying to find a boat.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I think you're either insane or you might love people.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, you're right.
And you're still trying to decide which one it is.
Yeah.
Let me grab one of your cards here.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, what do you think? Like, I mean, I've heard you approach some people around here, and talked about it. What do you, when people hear, hey, I'm Jubal, I'm starting a direct primary care clinic here in town.
I named it after myself.
Yeah.
That is not my name.
I thought that was your middle name, Lee.
Jubal Lee is Jubal-Lee.
Yeah.
Marlat.
The year of the Jubilee.
Yeah. This clinic is called Jubilee, which is Jubilee. Yes, I figured, like, hey, it's unique, so I might as well try it.
Yeah. So, I mean, what have people's reaction been? Like, are they like, what are you talking about? Or like, what, are they like, oh, I've been looking for one of those?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I've got some staunch supporters like, are you open yet? Like, just the other day I was approached by someone like, hey, I need some antibiotics for my finger. Are you guys open yet? Like, I'm sorry, not yet. Other people have, like, we are one of your first customers. I can't wait. Let's know. Let us know. So, and then other people like, so how's my insurance going to pay for this?
Right.
And you got to explain, like, no insurance. It's just like a gym membership. You only pay once a month. That's it. And then others are like, no, that's weird. I don't know. I don't think that'll work. And then, some people I hand my card to, like, we already have our primary care doctor. Goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah. And
that was fun.
yeah, because, like, let's say you got you got a 20-year Boeing guy, and he's got the quote unquote the best insurance or whatever. He's been going to the same doctor forever. Like, are you thinking that you will capture some of those, or like those guys are just probably they're going to keep doing their same thing? Because that's not. I'm not saying that's the average person, but we do have a lot of those in the area. In terms of career people that have just been doing the same thing and have good coverage.
No, I guarantee you, I'll capture them. The beauty. I'll back up. The beauty of the product is your doc knows you. It's one-time fee per month. It's same day or next day service. You can call and chat or come in like, hey, I need to be seen. You have an access to your doctor. You have your doctor's phone number.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
A lot of things do not need to be seen. I'll give you some examples, and I'll tell you why the Boeing guy with great insurance is going to want this. I have insurance. I belong to one myself, direct primary care. It's down in Snohomish. The reason I intentionally signed my wife and I up. This doctor does more functional health, so he wants to get you healthy first. We're not trying to build a functional health clinic. We're just trying to build a family practice clinic. But his is the same model as far as direct primary care. We pay $125 a month for each of us, and I've got that linked up to my bank account. The money just goes. It's like, I don't know. It's like the gas bill. It just gets paid.
Yeah.
One day I was in the gym lifting heavy. I felt great. I was on the squat rack. You know those days? You're like, yeah.
Yes.
I went heavy and I felt good. And later, about 2 hours later, I stopped off my daughter's house. And she said, Dad, can you help me move a couch? And I bent down and grabbed it. And, oh, God. Anyway, I couldn't move. It's super
debilitating.
Yeah. Intense, right on the side, lower back. And I'm at work the next day. I just hey, wait a minute. I belong to a DPC. I simply set my camera up on my desk and put it on the timer and took a picture of my back and then sent that picture to him with the circle around where it hurts. I'm like, it hurts here. 20 minutes later, he texts me back. He's like, hey, watch this video and do this stretch right away. I'm like, okay. So I get down on the ground and do this weird stretch. Pain gone.
Wow.
That was wild. Pain, about 30 minutes later, pain started coming back. I did the stretch again. I did that about 4 times that day. Pain went away. The fact that the pain went away was wonderful. Right. But the fact that I was able to reach out to my doc immediately and he responded, I didn't need to go into him. He's like, no, just do this. I said it like that, $125, well worth it.
Yeah.
And just last night, because he wanted me to get a bunch of labs, he called me and he just talked to me on the phone like, let's go through your labs. Which was, yeah. I mean, what kind of doc does that? He's like, yeah, make sure you do this. I'm going to get you on this. Keep going on this medication. Like, okay, wow.
That's a blessing to you. That's a blessing to the doctor. It's a blessing to the other patients. Mm-hmm.
And I was able to call his MA and just say, hey, I have an appointment, so you can go and cancel that because the doctor's called me. Well worth it. So yeah. So the point is, will the Boeing people? I have my own insurance. Will the Boeing want it? Yeah, because the guy at Boeing has great insurance and great coverage, but he doesn't have good care. Mm-hmm. So that's the point.
Interesting.
Yeah, just you saying, that you can call or text your doctor in the system. I think of, you're not calling out this company, or this insurance company, but I was on with Kaiser, and apparently they're great in some parts of the country, but at least 6 years ago or so, when my thyroid medication was out, and I spent a month trying to find the doctor that they kept telling me didn't exist, even though I could find the doctor on their website. Never got a hold of him and went off that medication. I remember talking with you about that, and it was you're like, oh yeah, you could die.
Yeah.
You have a thyroid storm, I think was the words. And it's like I'm talking with multiple people a day trying to find a doctor that doesn't exist in their system, but I can see that the doctor's still employed there.
Yeah, and
I can find the doctor on LinkedIn. I just can't get a hold of the doctor.
and
I feel like an investigator,
Show up
not
at
a
his
patient.
it's not like these huge companies are demonized. They're working in a system that's broken, and you can't get a hold of that doc because there's so many layers to get to them.
Yeah.
Even if you, they set them up. These systems are set up so, people can get cared for, and people are more sick. We got more chronic diseases going on. They're doing their best, but it's a broken system. And much like, for instance, we have the medical industry everything is insured for some reason. And you know what, to back up, what I think is important is that Sean Higgins,
we know him.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he has
Friend
he been
of
on
the show.
Has he been on the podcast?
He hasn't yet, but
yeah.
that is in the works. That's the plan.
So it was a year before I got fired. He's like, hey, I got this book. I went ahead and bought it for you. Which, I don't know, it's kind of sadistic. I think he knew he might have been planting something.
I have a plan for you.
But it's this one. I actually texted him today. I'm like, hey, remind me of that. It's The High Price of Socialized Medicine, a history of government meddling in American healthcare. Anyway, Dr. James Brooke. This guy, in short, he goes huge history of why medicine is so crazy, why it's so expensive. It's myriad, but the biggest thing is like the insurance wants to cover your medical care, and so in order for that to get paid, you've got to hire all these people to hunt through the record to make sure that it was cared for, and then bill the insurance.
Yeah.
And half of those bills are getting paid and half are not. And those people that are doing the hunting and billing and all that stuff, they cost a lot of money.
Right.
And so that's why, why is this, why would seeing my doctor for a half hour cost me, $500 or whatever it is? Because all those things got to get paid for.
Yeah.
Which is not necessary. So this guy started his own practice, just with cash. Because, and again, back to your original thing, don't I like people? Yes. But I think services should cost us something. Much like my car insurance. The car insurance is there. And car insurance is all different, and people pay different, they have a high deductible, low deductible. If I don't want to pay much at all, I'm going to get the good stuff. So if I get a ding in my car, it gets immediately fixed. Which is fine, but I'm going to pay for that. I'm going to pay a lot of money. Yeah. Or if my car gets totaled, I'm going to pay a low premium and a high deductible. And in that case, the smart people, keep that, and they just keep, a bunch of cash on the side just in case they need to replace or fix the ding. But your car insurance is not, you're like, hey, I need new tires. Yeah. Your car insurance is not going to pay for that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I should have gas in my car. The insurance should pay for that. No, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, in medicine, that's what we do. Like, hey, I want this little mole removed. My insurance should pay for that. Oh yeah, it should. And then you're like, hey, what about I need this luxury medicine. I think I should get paid for it. We're like, yeah, sure. And then it's just making insurance skyrocket.
So, did our Savior Obama, did he help things?
No, gosh.
I mean, it almost seems like, if you look at it sadistically, it could be almost viewed as, like they're setting us up to get the gullible people to want socialized healthcare even more, even though it seems like it's brought the system, an already broken system, even more brokener. It's brought it to its knees, and now people are going to be like, well, look at Canada. They don't pay anything.
That's why Canadians are coming down here to
They've been standing in line too long.
Yeah, to pay for service.
Or just on a wait list for necessary things.
Yeah. And because I hate people, so only the rich are going to get service. Well, that is true. If you got the money, you're going to get it. But certain things should not be. Medicine right now should not cost what it costs. Mm-hmm. That's why, hey, I want fancy tires. Like, go spend the money. And get
go buy the Z-rated tires.
Right. Or I just need some tires to get me through the winter. Okay, they're not gonna, they're gonna work. Mm-hmm. So the direct primary care is that's the answer. Yeah, I want to see a doc who knows my name and I can see, when I need it. All right, we'll pay for that.
But just from your perspective, just get into, give the broad strokes of, why, because trying to talk to my, 9th grade omnibus students, they're like, when was Obama president? And to me, in my mind, it's like, oh man, that was, who was it? R. Kelly that had the song, and everyone was just like, any black person was just like, we're here, and or black or white, we're like, we got a black president, we made it. Yeah. No more racism. Actually, Obama somehow found a bunch more racism that we just need to. We're always going to have it. It's just what do they say? It's unknown bias, But why? What would you say? How did Obama make it even worse by the healthcare plan then?
I know when they pulled the trigger, it just bottlenecked everything. Not just the software trying to get it set up.
It was a broken system that shattered a little bit more.
Yeah, it cracked it, and the medical industry is like, I'm done. And then COVID didn't help at all. They're like, so now you've got more people on, this free insurance, and then less people to take care of them, which is atrocious. Mm-hmm. I wish the caveat here is not that should people be taken care of? Should we take care of those who are less fortunate? Yes, but that's not there's some fundamental issues. That's not the government's. Mm-hmm. That's the church, which we need to do more of. And there's free clinics. There's a great free clinic, Safe Harbor, up in Stanwood. I know a lot of DPCs that actually do take on some of their patients. They're like, no, you're free. And then when you start paying, you can pay. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. So, So in terms of, you talk about service and who you're actually serving, you're actually providing a level of service that you can't get currently in the medical world on your average clinic or whatever outside of direct primary care. But as far as who was benefited by the majority of Obama's policies, of course you have those ads that I only pay $2 a month for my whatever, which is great, but my guess is that's not the average. And even if they do pay $2 a month, what are you getting for your $2? And of course that $2 is, the rest of it's coming from somewhere. But then also who actually got blessed by that system? Who got richer? My guess is either the insurance companies or, somewhere other than the end user, other than the people.
Yeah, there's always somebody who's going to get rich. Uh-huh. But I'm not. Just logically, insurance is still a business, and for them to stay it used to be like, hey, my appendix is burst and need to have a surgery. The insurance is like, yeah, that's legit.
Right.
So let's
Can't argue with you.
let's pay for that.
Yeah.
But now it's I need this mole removed. Well, that's okay. I guess we're insurance. We'll take care of that. So the costs are rising, and for the insurance has to make. I am definitely not supporting or backing insurance. So it's business still. And Dr. Brook in his book makes that point. They still got to make a margin, and if that's why when you go, if you have I have good insurance coverage. Okay, well, why are you still paying, $80 every time you go to the doc for your copay? Well, because they got to keep bumping things up so they can make the margins.
Yeah.
Well, even there being a cost to America being more unhealthy. Like I think of the comparison to California, deciding, we're not really going to do any fire prevention, and then it just sweeping through, and now who's eating it but the consumer?
Yeah.
And same with in terms of responsibility, I would say that the government in that sense has more responsibility to manage the lands that they have. In this case, it's you governing your own body and people just being really sick and unhealthy, and that they're actually reaping the benefit or not benefit. They're reaping the fruit of being unhealthy by raising costs because they have to, like you said, they have to have a margin. They have to, and if people are generally unhealthy, then they need more care.
Yeah. And, if I was going to demonize anyone, probably the food industry. Like they just keep producing crap and calling it food. And then we keep producing stuff. We just keep producing medicines and calling it a cure or a fix. The reality is most diseases we can fix just by eating right. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah.
It bears out.
Yeah. But if the food industry is still making crap out of, if we're eating like engine oil stuff, and we just cover it with just take this medication. That's where all the money's going. Yeah. I'm assuming. I don't know all the books, but
Right.
Well, so then we've got several broken systems there that we're having to work with, and is it breaking the food industry more by regulating? And this is again a little outside of where we're at, but I think we should rabbit trail a little bit here. Do we regulate the food industry in a way like make a law you can't do this, or do we change the nutrition labels on the side? Do we
If a company, they talk about, FDA, of course it has to clear the FDA, but if a company decided to put engine oil in their food because it was cheaper, but the FDA is like, we haven't, in our short study, we haven't seen any side effects.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So is it the government's responsibility to regulate that, or
no? I think depends how much of a what's the word? Government should only. The government's role is to protect, and that has a lot. You could define a lot with that.
Yeah, you want to keep that more limited than than
Well,
broad.
you could say protect. I typically say reward the good, punish the evil, and some of that there is protection in some of that in terms of like borders and protecting your people from invasion and stuff. But
yeah, government should have a military. It should definitely, to a point, have a CDC to keep things out and in. Although the CDC's got some issues, but and then keep some roads from potholes, fire department or whatever, police force. It should be limited. But yeah, sometimes there's like, why are you into this? Why is there a government person in? Like education, what's going on?
Yeah.
right.
Medicine, no. God bless all the Catholics. Those nuns would sacrifice themselves and charge nothing, and they've created. I'm not Catholic, but that church has done a ton for the sick, and those blessed nurses, the sisters, even the sisters that started Providence here. A huge history of just selfless sacrifices, and they just did it out of goodness, and God rewarded them for that. But
Yeah, I think the nuns got a different rap than the priests do.
The priest did get a rap sheet.
yeah,
No, but I mean, yeah,
We need to go into that history on the podcast soon. I dipped back into some old literature I had on that. I was thinking we need to get it talking about that. So
make sure I'm down for that one.
what about dipping
Not
into
a-
Redbreast?
yeah,
This is, I think, are these technically both Irish?
that is Scotch, and this one Redbreast is Irish.
Irish, okay.
So
By the way, you don't allow any. Hold on.
Oh,
You don't allow any of that Canadian stuff in here, do you?
we if we do, it's just to deride it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
what-
mean, we drink beer and whiskey here, so we just naturally wouldn't have anything Canadian.
right.
You don't drink piss.
We don't drink piss. We don't
Maple syrup.
Yeah, I mean, it might be vodka and cereal that's been liquefied.
Hey,
Mm-hmm.
they
You know.
Canadians know how to do maple syrup. That's good.
They got that down.
They just don't know how to do
Yeah,
whiskey.
yeah. Let me not pass your glass, dude.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, so this is Redbreast single pot still, 12-year. It says it has a rich mix of dried fruit and spice with toasted oak and sherry undertones, and it is triple distilled and matured in the finest oak casks. This is one that I can hear after listening to podcast after whiskey podcast. I can hear like their commercial sound. Like when I say Redbreast, I hear like the music in their commercial, and I've had less of it than I've heard about it.
That's not bad at all.
It is. I think I've had a younger one that's maybe their flagship or whatever. That I was like, oh, that's all right, but this one is really good.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the Glenfiddich is completely serviceable and really easy drinking. You know, if I was maybe introducing somebody to a Scotch, like I'd be like, hey, like this is really, they would have no opposition to it. This I feel like has a little more character, a little more bite, but not anything aggressive.
Yeah.
You get more of that toasted oak.
Yeah, there's a very light smokiness to it that I like, and it's not.
And a hint of tennis shoe.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is we're definitely at least I have my peak senses right now because the tail end of a cold or whatever.
By the way, I went to with a bunch of colleagues once. We had a Scotch tasting party, and we had all these different Scotches. It was fantastic. But and there was a piece of paper with all these different notes that you're trying to look for. One of them actually said shoe leather.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like,
Isn't that interesting? Did that help you think about it? Like,
yeah, but I'm not that guy that can like. There's a note of cherry.
Right.
It's good.
I've brought it up on the show at least. I think we've had 90 episodes, so I've probably brought it up 100 times. But I remember watching a thing with sommeliers in training. They were looking to get like whatever the master sommelier thing, and one of them brought up like fresh cut garden hose, and I was like, okay, like I don't know that I ever want that smell or taste, but
And why do you know that?
yeah,
Right.
but they're like, but do you understand that? When somebody said, I understood exactly what he meant at that time. Like, I mean, I remember, maybe because I'm a redneck, but like I remember cutting up garden hose for a rope swing.
Yeah, I more just think of like drinking out of a garden hose and like
Yeah.
in that hot summer day when the water's running through it, just what that
I know
smells
that.
like.
I know that taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, somehow drinking through a garden hose, we were still healthier as a society than
That's right.
now. So we did something we touched
We have
on.
to drink it through a mask with a hole in it.
Something we touched on, and I think this may be a couple of episodes ago or something. Josh, you said, "Oh yeah, we should talk to Jewel about that." Like just the idea of sanitizing yourself into more sickness, like where it seems like maybe, or maybe it's a blend of two things, where the society has become really unhealthy in our diet, and then also. Like, what's with all the allergies? Why are so many people? Is it that we're just combination of bad diet, and then also we're so afraid of I don't know, like exposing ourselves to any like dirt, like kids just not playing in dirt anymore. You know, like they're just. I mean, you got moms just wiping down every surface and. Maybe is there an over sanitizing?
Mom Lysol my video game controller, so I'm fine.
Yeah. She went down to the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. By the way, my caveat is I'm just a nurse.
Right. Yeah. As the
I don't know much.
Hey, Dr. Fauci. What do you think on this?
If it comes down in the big scheme of things, I'm pretty much an idiot. But
well, you're in good company.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. We need to get more sick, as kids, because our immunities need it. But I think the crap we're putting in our bodies, whether seed oils or flooding it with, because we're eating so many carbs and stuff, our bodies flooded with insulin nonstop, inundated. That's probably the good word. But so it's constantly inflamed, and so any allergen, whether it's pollen or whatnot, touches us, your body can't handle it, so it reacts immediately. Before that, it would just, it was simply just like, oh, I've seen this before.
Your primary care doctor's calling.
Yeah.
No, but on that, like we touched on seed oils the other day, and I said my position is kind of like I've just grown a healthy skepticism of seed oils. And just dipping a little bit into even their development, and how loosely they're used and how they're in everything, and even how at least some like linseed oil. What is a linseed? And how they just kind of use these things interchangeably. Like
I put it on my gun stock. Should I rub it on my bottom?
Right. I've looked on the back of a lot
That's
of
right. You do put it in your gun stock.
things recently, and it says or sunflower or this. It's like. Canola oil, like we just use them all interchangeably.
Yeah, they all go in. We'll just whatever we have the most of. That's when we'll.
So I don't know. What's your perspective on like what, like if you were to give not like just to say your personal view, like what is your skepticism of it? And
yeah, that's all you're gonna get is my personal
right.
So
yeah.
That being said, we've cut out all seed oils. And
so you just eat dirt.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've cut out all seed oils and processed crap. Now, I'll be lying if I say it's 100%.
Yeah.
But for the most part,
it's really difficult.
Yeah. It is. But I've every spring, I would be a mess of sneezing and runny nose, and I haven't had that in a couple of years, which is fantastic. My A1C is dropping, which I love. I don't know if that means anything to you.
It doesn't mean anything to me.
Okay.
It sounds like a familiar thing, but I don't know what that means.
I dropped my A1C once, so it was good.
It's the staining of the hemoglobin on your red blood cells by glucose.
And so you do that. You check that through your blood tests.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's an indicator of diabetes.
Okay.
So that's dropping, which I love.
So it's Wilford Brimley. So it's
and there's things on there's parts on my body that were hurting. That don't hurt.
Yeah, so you would say
anymore.
Personal testimony. You would just say, "Hey, I've cut these things out, and I've seen improvement."
Yeah,
and it could have been multiple things, right? Because when you cut out processed stuff, you're not just cutting out seed oils; you're cutting out a lot of extra things that they put in to preserve the food. To
anything wrapped in plastic, I don't do.
Yeah.
So more red meat, more vegetables.
You know what I'm down on? I can't get enough of it.
Yeah. What's your kick? What are you on?
Liver.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I make sure I eat it
beef
like
liver?
2-3 times, at least 2 times a beef liver, 2 times a week.
Okay.
I just fry it. I put some coconut oil. By the way, the oils I use: coconut,
Yeah. Tell us.
tallow, and
Yeah.
ghee.
Dude, I've been using bear grease.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's really good stuff.
Is ghee a form of tallow? Or
It's a purified,
Refined,
clarified
clarified
butter.
butter. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
And I can eat it by the spoonful. I love
Yeah.
it.
I've
yeah.
had a little bit. I need to get one that we've.
Costco sells it's great.
Okay.
Costco they like to cater to the healthy nerds.
Yeah.
And
that's a great way to get it in bulk.
oh, it is.
Oh.
Get the one in the glass jar. It's better than the other one.
They're also
you're getting rid of all the plastics to hold the things.
Yeah, I got
Tastes better,
mixed opinions on Costco because, like even like any in terms of political or just policies that they've had a chance to go one way, they've gone the other. Whether it came down to COVID or like recently where everyone's like, yeah, we're rolling back to EI. They're like, we're going harder. It's like, okay.
No.
But as long as sure, great. If they're providing a good service
And a $1.50 hot dog.
$1.50 hot dog. That probably has
They're low processed hot dogs, I'm sure.
They are Hebrew National.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
There we go.
But no, I think it's all connected. Even watching Joe Salatin's, Lunatic Farmer documentary recently, I just watched part of it, and it's just like, he's like, I don't feel like I made anything up. I just, this is what God designed nature to do.
Yeah.
In terms of the chickens following the cows, and when you have happy animals, it turns out it's good meat that tastes good and is actually healthier for you. When you're managing your soil well, it's better for the cow and then better for you, and all around it works better when even when you're talking about providing actually a better service to your patients. I think it's not a one-to-one comparison to if in the meat industry, if they said, hey, it's just meat, and if in your industry, if they say, hey, it's just care, it's like, well, actually it's not the same thing, in terms of being able to access your doctor and actually talk to them about more than one thing, and them actually. So where are you at in that? And so do you have a
I'm glad you asked that.
doctor? Since you said you're not a doctor, so
No. By the way, when you go to my
stay at Holiday Inn last night.
when you go to my
when you go to JubileeClinic.com, actually I don't know what it is.
it's Jubilee Clinics, because eventually,
JubileeClinics.com.
Lord willing, we will scale and there'll be more than one.
JubileeClinics.com.
Actual care, not just stated coverage. That's the front of the page.
I like that. Actual care.
Actual care. By the way, so Jubal doesn't have a doctor. That's the elephant in the room. We are interviewing. So we've had one interview already with a doctor, and we are doing the second interview Sunday.
Okay.
So we're super excited.
Yeah.
No guarantees, but
So I mean,
I happen to serve a God who parts waters and
right.
and creates planets, and so he can definitely find a doctor.
He
So,
can
yeah,
find a doctor. If he created the doctor, he can find him.
What
Guaranteed.
have been some of those moments that you've seen just in this process that you've seen God come through in unexpected ways?
Let me rapid fire listen to him. Sean gave me that book, putting that desire in my heart.
Was it there before that? Was there
No, I wanted to fix medicine. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what is wrong and how we're going to fix this. Because I realized that was part of it. 'Cause you're just going with the system. Getting fired. And having multiple.
That makes you think about things.
Yeah. Getting fired, hey, maybe I should take this opportunity. God giving me a job right now that I can work per diem. I'm extremely grateful. So I can just pick up a shift here and there and work extra shifts if I need to pull up some extra money. The timing, everything, all the kids are out of school. I'm not paying for any colleges, swim lessons, all that stuff. So the timing's been real good. So I started pulling that trigger with getting the clinic lined up with the Washington State Office of Insurance. That's how you have to get permission through to start a DPC in Washington State.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Through the insurance.
Yeah, exactly. Ironically, Washington State's, they're fully behind DPCs because they want all citizens of Washington to have some type of medical care.
Okay.
And they realize it's another form. So we, by God's grace, a lot of prayer, we pulled that trigger, and there's been a lot of fork in the roads, and one of them was like, I'm a nurse. Can I start a DPC? And they actually had to go. That's why I think I'm the only one who's done it. Because
you can find out if you can do that.
I called them and talked to them like, I'm a nurse. It says medical professional. It doesn't say doctor.
Huh.
And they said, we're going to have to get back to you.
Wow.
And
Right on.
3 or 4 days later, they called back and it's like, you got it. Go ahead. I'm like, wow. So that was a huge, this is a showstopper or this is God.
Yeah.
So we did it. And
I'm amazed that he called you back a few days later.
yeah, it was, yeah. So
That's impressive. Right
because the
there.
lady's like, I don't know. Let me look into that.
It's I don't know. I was trying to think of a comparison, and this sounds demeaning, but is it like a lube tech? Like, I'm gonna open my own shop. I know I'm not a master tech, but like, can I do that? I don't know how to.
That's exactly like
how to dissect an engine, but I know how to change oil.
Yeah. So my desire is not to be in medicine. I mean, I'm a nurse and I like that.
Yeah.
But I like business, and I really want a doctor to have the freedom just to be a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I'm also, I own real estate. So I like to buy real estate and do that kind of venture, but God's been merciful with that. And then I was looking around. I was on a local website, and it showed a clinic that was for sale. There's an optometry clinic that's local, and so I called and talked to the guy. Downtown Dennis is his name. He's local. And I'm like, I said, eventually I want to get into commercial property and start my own clinic. I don't know. I'm just calling it because I saw this property. He's like, this guy's wild. He's like, hey, no. Yeah. Okay, this is what I got. I've got a buddy who's selling his property that's not on the market. I'm going to connect you with him. I go, okay. So a few days later, I get a call from this beautiful man, Don. Don's like, hey, I'm selling my commercial property. And I thought it was the original one I was looking at.
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, hey, let me be square with you, because, I mean, I have residential homes, but the reality is I got to sell those before I purchase a commercial property. And his response is like, oh, that's easy. We'll just write that in the contract. I'm like, you can do that? He's like, it's commercial property. You can do whatever you want. It's not all the stipulations like residential. I'm like, oh, wow. And so eventually I sold 3 homes and bought this commercial property on State Avenue. Next to the, have you guys seen it?
I've been, is it near where the old city center was, or like the,
Yeah. It's right. It's adjacent to that.
Okay.
It's in between the city center and the new Buzz Inn.
Yeah, a little bit further.
Oh, that
further
is
south
no
than
longer
Buzz Inn.
wasn't like it's some.
Well, it used to be the old Golden Corral.
Oh, Buzz Inn just moved.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because it used to be. Yeah. Marysville happenings.
So, and so that all transition. There was a bunch of things in that just weren't going to happen without God's mercies, and it happened. I was just blown away by that. Then, so all those facilities, all those offices are rented with at least a 3-year lease. And I tried to negotiate one of them out. It's a massage parlor. It's not my favorite kind of environment. But they have a legal right to be there. And so...
Do they have dark tint on the windows?
They do.
All right.
They say they're legitimate. So I'm like, okay. So then I realized, well, I'm going to have to put that off. And if I'm going to open this clinic, a lot of prayer. It's like, Lord, is this where you're pushing? Is this where? And so I got to find something I can rent. And lo and behold, the place off of 9th opened up. And I'm like, hey.
So the original one you were inquiring about, or
No, the original
Okay.
one I'm inquiring about is still an optometry clinic, and my wife wants me to buy that. It's a lot of money. I need $800,000, which I don't have right now. But I'm like, well, it's available.
maybe your wife will lend you the money?
Yeah. And the lady, I was talking to the broker, and she's like, well, it's been empty for 3 months. I'm like, oh. And so I looked. We set up an appointment to walk through. I'm like, this is actually perfect. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So we jumped in the river with our paddle and with some plans.
Praying for a boat.
Yeah. Well, I know it's stupid, but in order to hire, our logic was in order to hire a doc, we have to say, hey, we're ready for you now.
Yeah.
Not, hey, I've got this good idea.
Is that weird for the doctor having the nurse approach them to do something like this?
For those who own DPCs, yes. In fact, there's a prominent doctor who actually started his own electronic healthcare or health record system for DPCs. And I talked to him, I've texted him multiple times, and he's all really supportive and everything. And then I let him know, like, well, I'm a nurse. He's like, wait, what? He's like,
I thought you were legitimate.
I said, and I wasn't trying to hide anything. I'm like, no, we need to start this because my community needs it. And he's like, I don't think any doctor wants to work for a nurse. I'm like, well, whether they want to or not.
What are their priorities?
Yeah.
Like, do they because you want a doctor that is more concerned about the community than who they're working for?
Because then
in a way, yeah.
Well, I'm like, well, I'm looking for the doctor who just wants to be, because most DPC docs are entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. They don't mind the business hat. Mm-hmm. I'm looking for the doc that just wants to see the patient.
Yeah, he just wants to be a doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's some awesome freedom in that for the right doctor.
Right. Well, the one we're about to do a second interview, the recruiter asked her, like, hey, do you have any questions for us? And her question was, I just want to see patients. I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to be a business person.
Man. Yeah.
And the recruiter's like, well, that's why he's opening this up. So that was just
that's awesome.
it's like, wow. By the way, one thing in this big insurance scheme, tell me do you know who the customer and the what's the word? who's giving the service and who's the customer? You would think it's the doctor and the patient. Mm-hmm. It's really the customer is the employer with the insurance agent. Mm-hmm. And those are the ones telling the poor doctor and the poor patient what can happen, what can't.
A doctor that's, the way I understand, the doctor that's in the insurance system is going to make less money than a DPS doctor.
DPC,
sorry. Yeah.
Yes and no. Actually, they'll probably make more up front. Because if you get hired at one of these big, if the doc hires one of these big conglomerates, they're going to pay you right away.
Yeah,
they'll have a big incentive.
Yeah, and they're going to give you a big bonus because you got some bills. To come over, but you're paying the piper. You got to see your 20 patients a day and blah blah blah. They call it pajama time. That's when you're charting at night. Trying to finish up your charts. The DPC doc is going to start off slower because they're building their panel, and you're paid on a percentage of how many people that you have in your panel, and so as that grows, your income will grow.
Yeah. Well, and over and over and over again, it seems like the thing that's difficult in the beginning, that takes a bit more bite out of you in the beginning, is the thing that pays off in the long run.
Yeah.
Whether it's switching from eating McDonald's to beef liver and tallow, like the beef liver and tallow is going to cost you more in paper, fiat money.
Yes.
But it's going to save you in what you're paying in medical bills later.
Right.
You know.
Like this program I'm going through, one of the things they say is, hard begets easy and easy begets hard.
Well, yeah, and even you said, you said something casual like, I'm probably stupid for doing this, and yeah, I think you could either call it stupid or you call it faith. I mean, in terms of buying the property, making it like moving in that direction and praying for God to fill in the gaps because. It's like you said, I need to have this before I do the next step. And so, what am I going to do? Am I going to do nothing or am I going to do that step? And, cause it's not like, like you said, there are dependencies here, there are contingencies where you yourself are, putting yourself out, personal assets and things that you're moving around to make it happen. It's not as though you got plan B, C, D, and F, where you're just like, this is one thing that I'm doing on the side. You're like, no, I'm invested in this. And even like you said, my people need this. My community needs this. And for you to see that need, is completely different than, the big orange Optum just scooting their big bum right into Marysville and Snohomish County and like, hey, we're the big, because Everett Clinic doesn't exist anymore. It's now Optum. Mm-hmm. And I don't know Optum from, anybody. But they're obviously a big company, that just bought up a small, multi-million dollar enterprise here in the Snohomish County area. And
that wasn't great.
Right. It wasn't.
And so what's taking the place of that, I don't have a lot of faith in.
Optum cares about you.
Yeah. Optum does not leave me optimistic.
Everett Clinic used to be doctor-owned, ran. It used to be one of the top Fortune 1000. They were up there as far as companies to work for.
They used to be good.
Yeah.
That's where we went as kids, and my mom, was like, we're going to see doctor whoever, like it was our doctor, like she knew my siblings, she knew me, and
to that point, that's what I want to create. Your family doc who knows Josh, who knows Ian, who knows hey, how's the kids, how's Kim?
Right.
So a couple questions I have, and we'll probably get close to wrapping it up.
Is that where the soft music starts in the background?
Yes.
Sure. I'll play it on my phone. Like looking at the whole service, you have your doctor, you go to your doctor. What kind of medical problems are, like, you're not going to go there if you sever a limb, but what are you going there? And then what happens? Like, so I go there, let's say I'm part of this setup, 6 years ago or whatever it was for me. And I'm like, hey, I got strep throat and I got this giant lump on my neck. What should I do next?
Yeah.
Where is something like that going to go, or a little bit less than that, or a little bit more than that? Like,
it's a great point. So most people who have direct primary care, the couple caveats is, number one, a lot of things that are sending you to the ER can be prevented. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of docs are like, if I would have known about this 3 days ago. In your case, if it was strep, they could have treated it right then. Mm-hmm. Most DPCs, which will dispense medications. Okay. And the medications are at cost. So instead of a $110 medication, it'd probably be like $5. It's.
I've been recently looking into that, and like the middleman thing and that kind of thing.
And so we'll
insane.
We'll grab the medications. The doctor will grab the medications from the cupboard, put it in a baggie, and hand it to you.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah. It will cost you because we're not. We won't charge anything extra. It's just at cost, and you'll just pay your $5, and that'll just cover the cost. Same with labs. Instead of labs being $400, it'll be like $3.50.
See, that was the thing that my wife had an experience with recently. Right. I think in the last year, she went in to get some blood work done, and the lady was like, I think my wife said, what is your cash discount? And she's like, go back out. There's this little app. do that, and then come right back in, and it went from $350 to $35 or
Right.
something like that. It was
Exactly.
like, wait, what? what was up with the $350?
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right.
And by the way, our receptionist is also a phlebotomist,
Okay.
and so they'll do both. And
So they arrange flowers and. No, they do blood. They do
they'll
the
pull your
draws.
blood,
Yeah.
and we have in the clinic. There's a
Hopefully, no one's
centrifuge.
dying and needs arrangement of flowers.
There's a centrifuge in the clinic, so we'll spin your blood right there and then just send it to LabCorp.
Wow.
And lastly, though,
So it seems like this process happens faster.
yes, very much so. Yeah,
Not just appointments, but like,
Yeah.
like, hey, I need
Exactly.
blood work. I might be dying. Okay, well,
but
come back in 3 months. We'll have your blood ready.
the big caveat is just like insurance. This way, people will either, because there's the cancer or Mack truck factor, those things happen. That's the severed limb scenario. That is true emergency, true. That's when you need a hospital.
Yeah.
And people will either carry like a Medishare, or they'll carry a like a high deductible, low premium insurance.
Okay.
Some of the beauties of like a lot of these, for instance, some of the DPCs we know, the guy's spending, I don't know, I think it's like $300 on insurance and $110 on his medication every month. He joined a DPC for $70 and a month, and his medication that he was taking, he was able to get for $10.
Wow.
So he's saving like the $300 just by the package at the direct primary care.
Yeah, so there's true direct care, and also like potentially all around cheaper, in terms of actually getting what you need versus paying for things that pay for all those middlemen and pay for all the that you don't need.
And believe it or not, there's a lot of people who are on Medicaid and Medicare that still that choose to go to direct primary care because they like the service, they like the doctor, they can save the $100 a month or whatever it's going to cost.
It's like the VA, where
yeah.
it's just like, I don't know anything about the VA. I've just heard it's a mess, where
If you've been to one VA clinic, you've been to one VA clinic.
you would know. Yeah.
You never go back to any. Right?
Well, they've got a service. We use the VA at times, and they've done my wife right. But it is huge.
Yeah.
It's huge, and it's messy at times.
Yeah. Is there we'll get into this. I guess I asked the one question. We got one more question, and then we'll go back into the other question if I can remember it.
You'll forget.
So right now, what can people do to like, they can obviously become part of this, and you guys are providing what services right now? What's going to help you get rolling into this?
Two things. People can pray that we find a doc and that God makes it work.
It's actually massive.
Yeah.
God listens to his people.
Yeah,
He's
that's
a good father.
Yeah. That's not I don't say that in passing. That's legitimate request.
Yep.
Because God is massive and merciful. Two, they can go to jubileeclinics.com, and it says join now. There's a waiting list. And if you do sign up now, which I encourage both of you to do, there's an enrollment fee. It's $180 per family, $90 per person. That's waived if you sign up before we open our door.
Okay.
There's a little savings there. And also, by God's mercies, just to bring in extra cash until we actually get the doctor, I am starting a infusion clinic on my own. I've got a colleague who's a doc who's signing all my orders. So if you want some aminos or electrolytes or vitamins infused, you can come by and get an infusion. It's IV.
Right on. Cool. And then, what is the future of this? You get your doctor, starts next week, and you are how do you want to see this blow up? Like if Jubal's Jubilee dream came true, how does this blow up and to affect the community and the industry?
And also I was thinking, like, to actually provide that service they can only see so many patients, right? So,
Yeah.
So, and you said in your website, it's clinics, so would it be multiple doctors at the same clinic and then other clinics, or?
Yeah, good question. The blow up, my good friend, is 3 to 4 locations. That's the goal. Each location would have 3 to 4 providers, depending on the size of each location. The one we have now could support probably 3 docs. Each doc would have their 500 to 600 patients. So, roughly, I don't know, 1,600 patients, give or take. It fluctuates. And so, 32, 6, I don't know, so we could, what is that, like 7,000 people in Marysville we'd be caring for. Marysville
has
Stanwood.
70,000 people, and
Yeah.
so if you get 10% of.
We'll put one in, Marysville, one in North Marysville, Lake Stevens,
Yeah,
Stanwood area or something like that.
right on. And if the VA checks itself before it wrecks itself, they're looking at possibilities of like paying out to businesses like yourself, medical businesses like yourself. Is that the potential where like the VA is going to be pay, or like other medical fields like that are going to be able to? What am I trying to ask here? Like they're going to pay for some of this like in the future for.
You mean like send patients from other places, or
yeah, like I don't know specifically here where we are like I'm talking like more remote places and things like that where they don't have a VA close by or something.
Yeah,
like that.
well, we do have VAs around here, but
Yeah.
yes, there'd be. I don't know about taking the VA. Probably not VA, but there are on that same vein. A lot of DPCs, which Lord willing, I'll be one of them. For the local medium-sized businesses, instead of paying a ton of money for these radical insurance plans, you simply pay for your employees' DPC coverage, like $70. It's on average about $65-$70 per person. Again, it varies on age. That's the only thing it varies on. Not on elements or however you're born or whatever your sex is. It's just based on age. So the older you are, the more you pay. I think ours is like 110 over 50. But the companies they could pay that for their employees.
Yeah.
And then
Right on.
and then be able to save a ton of money by purchasing a really high deductible, low premium coverage. And there's been companies that have done this across the country and end up saving so much money that they've given their employees raises.
Wow.
Yeah, just because
Right
of the
on.
money they saved.
Yeah.
So once we get the doc, I am knocking on a lot of doors and then beating on a lot of company, their doors and educating them on how much money they can save. And
for sure, yeah,
Right on.
yeah.
So be praying. Sign up.
sign up.
If you are digging through your couch cushions to find an extra $100,000.
Yeah.
Jew will take that kind of couch money.
yeah,
I mean, to be honest with you, this endeavor I am borrowing a lot of money to get this done, which, I'm sure God is willing, He's able to pay it back. So, yeah, my stuff is out on the table.
yeah. But that's good. Like, and even, I mean, sometimes you don't realize you're the domino. That is someone's on the edge of doing something, and they're like, "Well, Jubal stepped out," and whether or not it's working out or not, you stepped out in faith, and as far as wanting to serve the community and waiting on God to like put all the pieces together as you're walking forward.
Yeah.
And sometimes that'll just be the little push that somebody needs to do something else, and so we're glad to have you in our midst, and it's encouraging to see your work. We've just heard bits and pieces. It's good to hear the full story and what the goal is and what the aim is. Hopefully this will help explain to some other people that have been kind of wondering, what's going on there with Jubal. I heard bits and pieces, but obviously I understand, cart before the horse, that whole type of thing. Like you're trying to get it going, and also like it's not ready to go, but it is like there's parts of it that are ready to go, and like there's this rollout process. So
we're hoping the horse would say, "That's a nice cart. I want to pull that."
Yeah, this is awesome. I'm super excited about it. I think that the majority of people are hearing about it that understand, that have been run through the insurance ringer or whatever.
And who knows what kind of, like, I'm not necessarily saying like you're looking for partners, but who knows like what other type of relationships could form just as you start moving forward. Or like, people that would want to support that type of thing are like, hey, what about this? What other type of clinic or, just things in that vein that when you actually care about what you're doing, it attracts people of the same likeness. So that's encouraging to hear from you. And we're thankful for your endeavor, and thankful that you're greedy for money, which is why you're doing this. No, but we do pray that God blesses it.
And we'll be praying along with you on this. This is exciting.
There are some couples out there that are just like, Jewel, can you please hurry up?
Yeah.
And so I think about those ones often. They're like, okay, we got to get this going because they need care.
Mm-hmm.
They're just trying to get by with an aspirin here and there.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, Jubal, thanks for coming on. Guys, visit jubalclinics.com.
All cameras.
Yep. Both cameras, all cameras.
Did you show the QR code there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, QR code. I can put that in the comments.
Really?
Throw it up on the IG.
Yep, and on the YouTubes.
Yeah.
So, well, until next time, our saying here is weld defiance and obedience into one inseparable whole. So there are things, maybe like the large medical industry. Maybe you need to defy there and support this endeavor. And but as always, lead your family, be devoted to prayer, and watch God come through, even as it has for Jubal. And we pray that it would abound still more. All right.
Thanks for listening to the Contraritics. Tune in next time for another dose of guns, beer, and contrarianism.